So in case of liquids, whenever temperature rises, that means when you supply some heat energy to the liquid, the atoms or molecules in a liquid absorb the heat energy so that kinetic energy increases and they travel at random with more kinetic energies. Due to that, the intermolecular distance or interatomic distance increases more compared with solids. Because in case of solids, they are strongly bonded together. In case of liquids, as they are weakly, somewhat less bounded with less forces, then because of absorption of the heat energy, they acquire the kinetic energy so that they move away each other to greater extent. That's why the expansion of the liquids are greater than the expansion of the solids upon heating for the same rise of temperature. Okay, here we cannot, just like solids, we cannot heat the liquids directly. In order to heat the liquid, we have to take the liquid in any container and then only we can heat. Then only we can heat. Okay. For example, here, suppose you take one container. Actually, it is having a glass bulb. Suppose this is a glass bulb having a long neck. Here, actually, at a temperature T1, okay, we have taken the liquid up to this level, A. In a vessel having long neck, in a vessel means it is just like it is having a glass bulb with long neck. Okay, the liquid is taken up to the level A, up to the mark A. Up to the mark A. So the volume of the liquid up to the mark A in this vessel at a temperature T1 is say V1. Volume V1. Okay. Now, whenever the liquid in the vessel is heated, that means at the bottom when you heat them, then the heat energy transmission takes place through this bulb and it is absorbed by the liquid so that the temperature of liquid increases, hence expansion takes place. But at the same time, temperature of the vessel also increases. No? Vessel means it is a solid. So because of the expansion of the solid upon heating, the vessel also heated. Suppose you forget, suppose there is no expansion of the vessel. Even temperature rises, there is no change, there is no expansion in the vessel. Such type of vessel we have taken. Okay, when you heat the liquid here, because of rise of temperature, expansion takes place in the liquid and the liquid expanded, because of expansion, whatever the increase in volume of the liquid, whatever the increase in volume of the liquid, that amount of liquid rises in the vessel. Suppose the liquid level rises up to this point B. So from A to B, whatever the volume of this liquid column from A to B, that is the increase in volume of the liquid upon heating. If there is no expansion of the vessel. Okay. Suppose here, the liquid level rises up to this one. So A to B is the expansion of the liquid alone. But at the same time, we know whenever the temperature of the vessel increases, that means solid increases. Solid also expands. Now you consider the expansion of the solid. Then what about the liquid level? What about the liquid level? Is it B there only at B or is it false? Actually, these two occur simultaneously. So in order to understand the situation here, at first liquid alone gets heated. Due to that, the liquid level rises from liquid level in the tube rises from A to B. Now, if the vessel is also expanded, again the liquid level falls. No? So the liquid level falls to certain length C. So in this, actually, this expansion of the vessel and expansion of liquid both takes place simultaneously. Expansion of the vessel and expansion of the liquid takes place simultaneously. That's why directly we can see the liquid level here. The liquid level, directly we can see the liquid level up to this position. Okay. So here, what about this one? What about this? Here, whenever the liquid is heated, if vessel expansion is not considered, the liquid level rises up to B. But expansion of the vessel is also considered, the liquid level falls to B to from B to C. Okay. Now in this, what is the expansion of the vessel and what is the expansion of the liquid alone? Actually, whenever the expansion of the vessel is also taken into account, then the liquid level appears here only. The liquid level appears here only. That's why from A to C, whatever the expansion of the liquid, that is called apparent expansion of the liquid. A to C is called apparent expansion of the liquid. Okay. Next, what about B to C? BC. Actually, whenever the liquid alone is heated, the liquid level rises from A to B. But whenever the expansion of the vessel is considered, the liquid level falls from B to C. Here, B to C is the expansion of the vessel. B to C is the expansion of this represents. Suppose if the expansion of the vessel is more, the liquid level falls to more extent. That's why B to C represents the expansion of the vessel. Okay. So here, you see, B to C represents expansion of vessel. Okay, here I will write clearly. A to B. AB represents real increase in volume. And actually, whenever there is no expansion of the vessel, the liquid level rises from A to B means that is the real increase in volume of the vessel. Real expansion of liquid or real increase in volume of liquid. Okay. Next, AC. Here, actually, whenever though there is no expansion of the vessel, the liquid level rises from A to B. That's why that is the real increase in volume of the liquid. Suppose if you find the area of this liquid, volume of this liquid column AB, that is the real increase in volume of the liquid column. Real increase in volume. Okay. Or actual increase in volume. But because of expansion of the vessel, the liquid level falls to C. We can see this level only. We can see this level only. That's why initially we know the liquid level is at A at a temperature T1 degrees centigrade. At a temperature T2 degrees centigrade, the liquid level seems to be here in the vessel with respect to vessel. Okay, that's why this AC is the apparent increase in volume of the liquid. Okay, the increase in volume of liquid with respect to vessel. అంటే వెసల్ కి ఎక్స్పాన్షన్ కూడా కన్సిడర్ చేస్తే మనకి లిక్విడ్ లెవెల్ ఇక్కడే కనిపిస్తుంది. లిక్విడ్ లెవెల్ ఇక్కడే కనిపిస్తుంది. కాబట్టి దిస్ AC is the apparent expansion of the liquid. So AC, apparent expansion of liquid. Apparent increase in volume of liquid. Apparent increase in volume of liquid. Okay. What about BC? What about BC? Anybody else? What about BC? What about BC? Anybody else can say? Expansion of vessel. Very good. Suppose if the expansion of the vessel is more, then liquid level falls to greater extent. If it is less, liquid level falls to smaller extent. That's why BC represents the expansion of the vessel. So BC represents the increase in volume of the vessel or cubical expansion of the vessel. Volume expansion of the vessel. Volume expansion of the vessel. Okay, from the diagram you see, from the diagram, linear relation among AB, AC, BC is from diagram. Okay, now I am going to discuss here apparent expansion. Apparent expansion. Apparent expansion and real expansion. Apparent expansion and real expansion. Okay, here as usual, here also at a temperature T1, the volume of the liquid is V1 up to this mark, and at a temperature T2, the volume of the liquid appears up to this one. That's why it is the apparent volume of the liquid at a temperature T2. Okay, therefore, the apparent increase in volume from the apparent increase in volume apparent increase in volume. Apparent increase in volume. V2 minus V1. That is directly proportional to the original volume of the liquid and also proportional to rise of temperature T2 minus T1. T2 minus T1. Here T2 is the final temperature. Final temperature or the temperature to which the liquid is heated. So from this we can write V2 minus V1 is proportional to V1 into T2 minus T1. Here V1 means volume of the liquid up to this one at a temperature T1. V2 means the volume of the apparent volume of the liquid at a temperature T2. And at T2 degrees centigrade, with respect to vessel, the liquid level rises up to this one. That's why apparent volume of the liquid at a temperature T2 is equal to this one. Okay, that is the V2. That is V2. So V2 minus V1 is directly proportional to this one, or V2 minus V1 is equal to some proportionality constant gamma A into V1 into T2 minus T1, where gamma A is called coefficient of apparent expansion of the liquid. Coefficient of apparent expansion of liquid. Coefficient of apparent expansion means volume expansion only. Apparent expansion. Apparent expansion of liquid. Gamma A is equal to V2 minus V1 by V1 into T2 minus T1. Okay. This is the formula for coefficient of apparent expansion of the liquid. Coefficient of apparent expansion of the liquid means whenever the expansion of the vessel is not considered. Expansion of the vessel man consider cheyapothe. Expansion of the vessel ikkada consider cheyapothe. Liquid level ikkada varaku liquid level expansion of the vessel ni consider cheyapothe appudu vache volume of the liquid edante idi T2 degree centigrade దగ్గర volume of the liquid ikkada daakane untundi. Okay, so the expansion of the liquid with respect to vessel is called apparent expansion. The expansion of the liquid without considering the expansion of the vessel. Expansion of the vessel మనం కన్సిడర్ చేయకుండా ఎక్స్పాన్షన్ ఆఫ్ ది లిక్విడ్ కనుక తీసుకుంటే మనకి యాక్చువల్ గా మనకి ఎక్స్పాన్షన్ ఆఫ్ ది వెసల్ మనం తీసుకోవాలా, కన్సిడర్ చేయాలి. అసలు కన్సిడర్ చేయకపోతే లిక్విడ్ లెవెల్ ఇక్కడ వరకు ఉన్నట్టుగా కనిపిస్తుంది. అప్పుడు ఈ ఎక్స్పాన్షన్ మనం ఆపరెంట్ ఇంక్రీజ్ ఇన్ వాల్యూమ్ అంటాం. V2 minus V1 is the apparent increase in volume. Okay, so coefficient of apparent expansion of the liquid is equal to gamma A, which is equal to apparent increase in volume by original volume into rise of temperature. So how we can define this coefficient of apparent expansion of the liquid? The ratio here, the apparent increase in volume per unit volume per degree centigrade rise of temperature. Ikkada V2 minus V1 by V1 means it is the increase in volume by initial volume. This V2 minus V1 by V1 gives the fraction of apparent increase in volume of the liquid per degree centigrade rise of temperature. That is called coefficient of apparent expansion of the liquid. Okay. Similarly, so from this formula you see V2 minus V1, that means apparent increase in volume. Okay, that is equal to, from the diagram, what is its value? Apparent increase in volume is equal to what? The volume of this length of the liquid column. No? Because when the expansion of the vessel is considered, the liquid level falls to this point and liquid level can be seen here only. Okay, that's why this is the apparent increase in volume. Suppose the area of cross section of the neck of the body. Suppose the area of cross section of neck of the body. Area of cross section is equal to say small a. Then small a into area of cross section, small a into length of the liquid column here into AC. That gives the apparent increase in volume. That gives the apparent increase in volume of the liquid. Okay, this is equal to V1 into gamma A into V1 into delta T2 minus T1. So gamma A into V1 into T2 minus T1. Okay, that is the apparent increase in volume. Similarly, real increase in volume. Here at a temperature T1, volume of the liquid is V1, and at a temperature T2, volume of the liquid is V2. Then real increase in volume. Real increase in volume. V2 minus V1. Formula is same. V2 minus V1 is directly proportional to original volume and also proportional to rise of temperature. From this we can write V2 minus V1 is proportional to V1 into T2 minus T1, where V2 minus V1 is the real increase in volume. V2 minus V1 is the real increase in volume. Therefore, real increase in volume V2 minus V1 is equal to some proportionality constant gamma real into V1 into T2 minus T1. This proportionality constant gamma real is called coefficient of real expansion of the liquid. Coefficient of real expansion of liquid. So gamma real is equal to V2 minus V1 by V1 into that T2 minus T1. Okay. Therefore, real increase in volume. Real increase in volume is equal to real increase in volume V2 minus V1 is equal to real increase in volume A to B. That means area of cross section into AB, which is equal to real increase in volume is equal to gamma R into V1 into T2 minus T1, gamma R into V1 into T2 minus T1. Next, increase in volume of the vessel or cubical expansion of the vessel. Cubical expansion of vessel. Cubical expansion of the vessel is equal to that is V2 minus V1, which is equal to R delta V, which is equal to cubical expansion of the vessel means increase in volume of the vessel upon heating from T1 to T2 is what is the increase in volume of the vessel here? Whatever the volume of the liquid level falls, that is the increase in volume of the vessel only. No, that's why area of cross section into BC, area of cross section into length of this liquid column falls due to expansion of the vessel. That is the increase in volume of the vessel. Okay, which is equal to already we know in last class we have studied the quotient of cubical expansion gamma is equal to or gamma glass vessel gamma Z. Gamma is equal to V2 minus V1 by V1 into T2 minus T1 or V2 minus V1 is equal to V1 into gamma glass into V1 into rise of temperature T2 minus T1. These are the formulas. Now, from this linear relation here, AB is equal to AC plus BC. No, AB is equal to AC plus BC. From the diagram, AB is equal to AC plus BC or CB, whatever it may be. So AB means from this, where is AB? AB is equal to how we can write? AB is equal to here gamma R into V1 into T2 minus T1 by A is equal to AC means this one. AC is equal to gamma A into V1 into T2 minus T1 by small a plus BC means from this gamma Z V1 into T2 minus T1 by A. Okay. In all we can cancel V1 into T2 minus T1. A can be cancelled. Okay. Therefore, gamma R is equal to gamma operand plus gamma plus. This is the coefficient of real expansion of the liquid. Here the relation between if we do not consider the expansion of the vessel, then the liquid level rises to no. Here actually, whenever the expansion of the vessel is not there, liquid level rises up to this B. So AB is the real expansion of the liquid. AC is the real expansion of the liquid. When expansion of the vessel is considered, the liquid level falls to C. So the liquid level seems to be expanded from A to C only. That is the real operant expansion of the liquid. మనకి లిక్విడ్ ఇక్కడ నుంచి యాక్చువల్గా లిక్విడ్ ఇక్కడ నుంచి ఇక్కడ దాకా ఎక్స్పాండ్ అవుతోంది, అది రియల్ ఎక్స్పాన్షన్. కానీ మనం చూడడానికి లిక్విడ్ లెవెల్ ఇక్కడ నుంచి ఇక్కడ దాకా ఎక్స్పాండ్ అయినట్టుగా కనిపిస్తుంది. సో దట్ ఈస్ ద ఆపరెంట్ ఎక్స్పాన్షన్ ఆఫ్ ది లిక్విడ్ ఆర్ ఎక్స్పాన్షన్ ఆఫ్ ది లిక్విడ్ విత్ రెస్పెక్ట్ టు వెసల్. ఓకే, బికాస్ ద ఎక్స్పాన్షన్ ఆఫ్ ది వెసల్ ఇస్ ఫ్రమ్ B to C. ఓకే, రైట్. So gamma R is equal to gamma operand plus gamma Z. This is the relation among Coefficient of real expansion of the liquid, coefficient of apparent expansion of the liquid, and coefficient of volume expansion of the vessel. Gamma z is the coefficient of volume expansion of the vessel. This can also be written as gamma r is equal to gamma apparent plus. If the coefficient of linear expansion of the vessel means solid, is alpha, then how we can write gamma glass? How we can write gamma glass? How we can write gamma glass in terms of alpha? Coefficient of volume expansion of the solid is equal to 3 times the linear coefficient of linear expansion. No? That's why we can write coefficient of 3 times the coefficient of linear expansion. Okay, this is the relation among these are the different types of expansions. Apparent expansion, real expansion. Coefficient of apparent expansion. Next, coefficient of real expansion of the liquid. Okay, now how you can measure this coefficient of apparent expansion of the liquid? Yeah, 3 alpha. How you can measure the coefficient of apparent expansion of the liquid experimentally? Actually, we are not having that experiment. Okay, we will check it. We will derive one formula. Okay, determination of coefficient of apparent expansion. Determination of coefficient of apparent expansion. Of course, all coefficient of apparent expansion, coefficient of real expansion, all are having same units. All are having same units. Okay. So determination of coefficient of apparent expansion of liquid by specific gravity Bartle method. Specific gravity Bartle method. Here we know coefficient of linear expansion, aerial expansion, whatever it may be, alpha is equal to coefficient of linear expansion is equal to L2 minus L1 by L1 into delta T. Formula is there, no? Here temperature difference is measured in degrees centigrade. Temperature difference is measured in degrees centigrade. Then what is the unit? What is the unit of this alpha? Per degree centigrade. Per degree centigrade. That means this coefficient of linear expansion of the solid is measured in terms of degrees of centigrade. That's why you write alpha C. Alpha C is the coefficient of linear expansion measured in degrees centigrade. Okay. Next, in Fahrenheit scale, suppose the temperature difference is measured in Fahrenheit scale, then L2 minus L1 by L1 into, it is a delta C. Temperature is measured in centigrade scale. Difference in temperature is measured in centigrade scale. L1 into temperature difference is measured in Fahrenheit scale. That's why temperature difference T2 minus T1 is equal to delta F here, and here it is delta C. Because it is measured in centigrade scale, it is measured in Fahrenheit scale. What is the relation between them? Why? Yesterday in last classes we have derived the relation between gamma glass and alpha. No, the coefficient of ratio between the coefficient of linear expansion, coefficient of aerial expansion, coefficient of volume expansion is equal to 1:2:3. We have obtained now. Girish, again you are asking the simple question. The ratio among the coefficient of linear expansion, coefficient of aerial expansion, coefficient of volume expansion of the vessel is equal to 1:2:3. Already we derived beta is equal to 2 alpha and gamma is equal to 3 alpha. Already we derived these formulas. Okay. Okay. Now divide this. What is the relation between these two? I need. So alpha C by alpha F is equal to, we can write delta F by delta C. No. This by this, L2 minus L1, L by L1, L2 minus L1 by L1 cancel. then 1 by delta C by 1 by delta F. That means delta F by delta C. What is delta F by delta C? Already we know C minus 0 by 100 minus 0 is equal to F minus 32 by 180 na? 180 or 212 minus 32. So 180. Okay. So from this delta C by 100 is equal to delta F by 180. Already I said this one. So from this 25s are 29s are. Therefore delta F by delta C is equal to 9 by 5. No? Delta F by delta C is equal to 9 by 5. Okay, now here you substitute here. Delta F by delta C is equal to 9 by 5. Therefore, alpha F is equal to 5 by 9 into alpha C. Not only alpha, any coefficient of expansion in this case, in case of solids or liquids here, the relation between coefficient of expansion in Fahrenheit scale and coefficient of expansion in centigrade scale, that is the relation. Sometimes will be given coefficient of linear expansion of the solid in centigrade scale is alpha C. What is its value in Fahrenheit scale means you will be given alpha C value directly, some 0.00009 like that it will be given. Then what is the coefficient of linear expansion in Fahrenheit scale? They may ask. You have to multiply with 5 by 9. Sometimes you will be given coefficient of volume expansion of the solid in Fahrenheit scale as gamma F. If you are given coefficient of volume expansion of the solid in centigrade scale, then what is its value in Fahrenheit scale means simply 5 by 9 into gamma C. That's all. Similarly, here also, coefficient of real expansion of the liquid in centigrade scale is gamma C. Then what is the coefficient of real expansion of liquid in Fahrenheit scale means into 5 by 9. Just you have to multiply gamma C value with 5 by 9. That gives the gamma F value. So this is very, very important point. Of course, yesterday in note points only I would be explained, but I forgotten. Okay, this is also important one. Okay, 5 by 9 now. What about delta F by delta C? Delta F by delta C is equal to 9 by 5 now. 9 by 5. The alpha C by alpha F is equal to 9 by 5. I am right. I have written here alpha F is equal to what? Dheeraj, alpha F is equal to what? Alpha F is equal to 5 by 9 into alpha C only. Dheeraj. Okay, right. So this point is also very, very important. Okay. Determination of gamma operator of liquid. Specific gravity bottle method. What is the specific gravity bottle method? Specific gravity bottle. It is a small glass bottle in which the volume of the liquid is maintained constant at all temperatures. That bottle is called the specific gravity bottle. Okay. So here, specific gravity bottle is a small glass bottle. You see here. A specific gravity bottle is a small glass. It is a small glass bottle having somewhat long neck. Okay. It is closed with a glass stopper. It is closed with a glass stopper. Provided a bore in it. ఈ గ్లాస్ స్టాపర్ లోపల ఒక బోర్ కూడా ఉంటుంది, అంటే ఫైన్ హోల్ ఉంటుంది. ఫైన్ హోల్ ఇది. So when you keep the stopper over this in the neck, then the volume of the liquid in this bottle is up to this place only. The volume of the liquid in the bore can be ignored, can be neglected. In such a way, the glass bottle is there. Okay, now you see when temperature increases, already it is filled with liquid. When it is filled with liquid, if the temperature of the liquid rises, expansion takes place. But whenever the stopper is kept here, it is the glass stopper. when expansion takes place in the liquid, but there is no chance for the liquid to expand inside the bottle totally. Okay, that's why whatever the increase in volume of the liquid, that volume of the liquid, the increase in volume of the liquid passing through this bore and expels out, oozes out. But still, at any temperature, the volume of the liquid in the bottle will be this only. That means almost all the volume of the liquid in the bottle is maintained constant at all temperatures. That is the advantage of the space. That is the characteristic feature of the specific gravity bottle. So specific gravity bottle means a small glass bottle which can maintain the volume of the liquid in the bottle remains constant at all temperatures. That is the specific gravity bottle. So with the help, could you understand here how the volume of the liquid is constant? Could you understand? Could you understand this or not? Come on, anybody else? You respond immediately. Okay. Now, so with the help of this glass bottle, how we can measure the coefficient of operant expansion of the liquid? Now, you take a beaker. You take a beaker, fill the beaker with liquid, and by means of a burner, you heat the, of course, here it is filled with water. Here it is filled with water. Okay. Now, you take the glass bottle and you completely empty the glass bottle, and along with the stopper, you find the mass of the glass bottle, mass of the specific gravity bottle. Mass of specific gravity bottle. Mass of specific gravity bottle alone is equal to m1. With stopper, mass of the specific gravity bottle means with stopper only. Okay, mass of the specific gravity bottle with stopper is equal to m1. With stopper. m1. Okay, now it is the empty specific gravity bottle. The mass of the empty specific gravity bottle is equal to m1. Now, you remove the stopper. Okay, then you pour the liquid or oil whose gamma operant, whose coefficient of operant expansion to be determined. So, ఏ liquid యొక్క operant expansion, coefficient of operant expansion find out చేయాలో ఆ liquid తో బాటిల్ కంప్లీట్ గా ఫ్లడ్ చేయండి. అంటే ఇట్లా. ఓకే, ఆ లిక్విడ్ ని ఫ్లడ్ చేసి ఇక్కడ దాకా ఫ్లడ్ చేసి అనుకున్నాం. The liquid whose coefficient of operant expansion to be determined, that is taken and filled the specific gravity bottle with that liquid, and stopper is kept. When stopper is kept, whatever the extra volume of the liquid taken in this bottle, that expels out or oozes out through this pore. So the liquid now remains up to this only. So in this way, you fill the specific gravity bottle with the liquid whose coefficient of operant expansion to be determined. Okay, now suppose if any liquid drops comes out here, whenever the liquid drops comes out, the excess liquid comes out here. Okay, now that may fall over the surface of the bottle. That's why by using the blotting paper or tissue paper, you just remove the liquid drops over the surface of the bottle. Okay, now again you measure the mass of the bottle with the liquid taken at a temperature T1. అంటే దీంతో తీసుకున్న లిక్విడ్ యొక్క టెంపరేచర్ T1 అనుకోండి. ఓకే, నౌ మాస్ ఆఫ్ బాటిల్, that means specific gravity bottle plus liquid taken at T1 degrees centigrade, at temperature T1 is equal to say m2. Then what is the mass of the liquid taken at a temperature T1? What is the mass of the liquid taken at a temperature T1? What is the mass of the liquid taken at a temperature T1? The expansion of the bottle is not considered. When you do not consider the expansion of the bottle, then expansion of the liquid is the operant expansion. Here expansion of the bottle is not taken into account. Okay, m2 minus m1. So mass of the liquid taken mass of liquid taken at T1 at temperature T1 is equal to M2 minus M1. Okay. Now, you keep that specific gravity bottle filled with liquid at a temperature T1. Of course, here it is at room temperature. Here this water taken in the beaker is also at the room temperature only. Okay, now the bottle is kept inside the liquid like this. Okay. So here the bottle is suspended by means of a thread like this with retard stand. Here this beaker is kept on the tripod stand like this. Okay. Like this. The beaker is kept over the tripod stand, and from the bottom, the liquid in the beaker can be heated. So, by means of a Bunsen burner or simply burner, the water in the beaker can be heated. Here, we had, in order to do the, in order to find the coefficient of operant expansion of the liquid taken in the bottle, their boiling point must be greater than the boiling point of the liquid taken in the beaker. That is the important point. The boiling point of this liquid taken must be greater than the boiling point of the liquid taken in the beaker. Suppose if it is water, the boiling point of the liquid must be greater than the boiling point of water. If any other liquid, boiling point of liquid taken in the bottle must be greater than the boiling point of the liquid taken in this beaker. In such a way, we have to take. Okay. Now, here this beaker is already I said it is filled with the liquid. No? It is filled with liquid or water. Water it may be. Okay. Already in this glass specific gravity bottle, the liquid whose coefficient of operant expansion to be determined is there. Here at a temperature T1 degrees centigrade. The liquid in the bottle is at a temperature T1 and this is also at a temperature T1 initially. Okay. Now, the volume at a time here, volume of bottle or volume of the liquid, volume of the bottle is equal to say V, which is the constant volume. That is the basic feature of the specific gravity bottle. Now, at a temperature T1, what is the mass of the, what is the volume of the liquid? What is the volume of the liquid at a temperature T1? That is equal to capital V only. Then what is the volume of the unit mass of the liquid? Volume of unit mass of liquid. Unit mass of liquid. Why I have considered unit mass, I will explain. Volume of unit mass of liquid at temperature T1. At temperature T1 is equal to say V1. That V1 is equal to what? V by mass of the liquid. That means M2 minus M1. Okay. Mass of the liquid taken is this one. Volume of liquid at a temperature T1 is equal to V, which is the volume of the bottle. Therefore, volume of unit mass of liquid. Inta mass ki inta volume occupy cheste. What is the volume of the unit mass of the liquid means V by M2 minus M1 will know. At a temperature T1, suppose the density of the liquid is ρ1. Density of liquid at temperature T1 is equal to say ρ1. Okay, now by means of the burner, you heat the water or liquid taken in the beaker. Then temperature of the water gradually increase. Then temperature of liquid, the temperature of the liquid also increases. When temperature of the liquid increases, expansion takes place. That means volume increases. But there is no chance for the liquid to expand. But definitely, whenever it is heated, expansion takes place. That's why, because of rise of temperature, whatever the increasing volume of the liquid, that is oozes out or expels out here, drop by drop. Slowగా drop by drop fall అవుతుంటుంది, అంతేగాని ఫౌంటైన్ లాగా రాదు. The liquid oozes out not in the form of a fountain, as the liquid in the bottle is gradually heating. By heating the liquid in the beaker or water in the beaker, the expansion takes place in the liquid in the bottle. Due to that, the volume of the liquid in the bottle gradually increases. Whatever the increase in volume of the liquid, then the liquid oozes out or expels out or comes out through this pore, drop by drop. By means of the blotting paper, we have to remove that drops which comes out through the stopper frequently. We have to see that liquid oozes out drop by drop through the stopper of the bottle. It should not fall into the liquid or water in the beaker. Suppose if this liquid fall into the water in the beaker, that boiling point of this water or liquid may be changed. That's why the liquid oozes out through this stopper should be removed by means of the blotting paper continuously. Okay. So in this way, you heat the water in the beaker up to a temperature T2. Then the temperature of the liquid in the beaker, liquid in the bottle is also increased to T2. Whenever temperature of liquid becomes T2, then the expansion takes place as the temperature increases from T1 to T2, and then because of expansion, whatever the increase in volume of the liquid, that is oozes out and it is removed by means of a blotting paper. So here, whenever the temperature of the liquid in the beaker reaches a boiling point or reaches a particular temperature, after that, if it is the boiling point of this liquid, then after that, even you continuously keep the burner here for any time, the temperature of this water or liquid taken the beaker does not change if it is the boiling point. That means T remains constant even you heat the water continuously for any time. Then there is no further rise in the temperature of the liquid. So there is no change in the temperature of the liquid also here also in the bottle. When no change in the temperature, no expansion takes place. Then the liquid drops comes out through this bore in the stopper, will be stopped. At that time, you observe for few seconds more or few minutes more. Okay, ఇంకా కొంత టైం తర్వాత ఇంకేమైనా డ్రాప్స్ బయటకు వస్తేమో చూడండి. ఎప్పుడు whenever the drops does not come out through the stopper, then at that time, just you gently by held the neck of the bottle, you remove the bottle from the liquid and allow the bottle to cool, and again you measure the mass of the liquid remained. ఎందుకంటే కొంత మాస్ ఎక్స్పెల్ అయింది కదా హీట్ చేయడం వల్ల. Whenever the temperature of the liquid in the bottle is heated to T2 temperature, because of expansion, some liquid expels. So remaining liquid is there here. The mass of the bottle with remaining liquid at a temperature T2 we will have. Okay, therefore mass of bottle with plus remained liquid at temperature T2 is equal to what? Here you see, suppose when at a temperature T2, whenever the liquid does not comes out, at that time you remove the bottle from the vessel, from the beaker, and you just totally over the surface of the bottle you dry them by using blotting paper and allow the bottle to cool, and again you measure the mass of the bottle with liquid at a temperature T2. ఇక్కడ T2 టెంపరేచర్ దగ్గర ఎంత వాల్యూమ్ గల లిక్విడ్ ఉందో దీన్ని బయటికి రిమూవ్ చేసినప్పుడు కూడా అదే లిక్విడ్ ఉంటుంది, వాల్యూమ్ ఉండదు. బయటికి రిమూవ్ చేసినప్పుడు ఇంకా కూల్ చేసాక మనం అప్పుడు కంట్రాక్ట్ అయిపోతుంది. అయితే మొత్తానికి మాస్ ఆఫ్ ది లిక్విడ్ అయితే మారదు కదా. ఎట్ ఏ టెంపరేచర్ T2, వాట్ ఎవర్ ద మాస్ ఆఫ్ ది లిక్విడ్ రిమైన్ ఇన్ ద బాటిల్, దట్ మాస్ ఈస్ రిమైన్ దేర్ ఇన్ ద బాటిల్ ఈవెన్ యూ కూల్ దెమ్. సో మాస్ ఆఫ్ ది బాటిల్ విత్ రిమైన్డ్ లిక్విడ్ ఎట్ ఏ టెంపరేచర్ T2 is equal to, okay, that is say M3. Mass of the bottle plus remained liquid at a temperature T2 is equal to say M3. Then what is the mass of the liquid expelled? What is the mass of the liquid expelled? Mass of liquid expelled. What is the mass of the liquid expelled? Tell me. Mass of liquid expelled is equal to mass of the liquid taken here is this one. Mass of the liquid remained is mass of the bottle plus remained liquid at a temperature T2 is equal to this one. So mass of the liquid remained at a temperature T2 is what? Mass of the liquid remained at a temperature T2 is what? Mass of liquid remained is equal to From the mass of the bottle plus remain liquid at a temperature T2, if you subtract the mass of the bottle, then that gives the mass of the liquid remained at a temperature T2. No, mass of the liquid remained at a T2. M2 minus M3. Okay. No. M2 minus M1. Mass of the liquid remained is equal to from the mass of the liquid remained from this mass of the body plus mass of the liquid remained at a temperature T2. You subtract the mass of the body, then that gives the mass of the liquid remained at a temperature T2. Okay, now therefore, what is the volume of unit mass of the liquid at a temperature T2? Volume of unit mass of liquid at T2 is a V2. V2 is equal to what? So at a temperature T2 also the volume of the liquid remained in the bottle is same V only, no? That's why V by mass of the liquid at a temperature T2 is M3 minus M1. So M3 minus M1. It is the volume of unit mass of the liquid at a temperature T2. Here also volume of the unit mass of the liquid at a temperature T1. That means we have considered the at different temperatures the volumes of the same mass of liquid we have taken. That's why per unit mass we have calculated. Because at a temperature T1 actually mass of the liquid taken is more. At a temperature T2 as some liquid is expelled out, then mass of the liquid is less. That means different masses are there. That's why at a temperature T1 and T2 I have calculated the mass of volume of the liquid, volume of unit mass of the liquid at temperature T1 and T2. That means these are the volumes acquired by the same mass of liquid at different temperatures. I calculated. Okay, now I will erase this part. Okay, now according to the definition of the coefficient of operant expansion of the liquid, gamma operant is equal to, tell me, what is the formula? Coefficient of operant expansion of liquid is equal to operant increase in volume, by initial volume into rise of temperature T2 minus T1. Okay, what is the apparent increase in volume of the liquid when temperature is rising? What is the apparent increase in volume? That is equal to volume of unit mass of the liquid at a temperature T2 is V2, which is equal to V by M3 minus M1. Okay, minus initial volume. Initial volume is V by M3 minus M1 by initial volume. Initial volume is this only, no? V by M3 minus M1 into rise of temperature T2 minus T1. In all, we can cancel V. Then you take LCM. M3 minus M1 minus of, here, V by M2 minus M1. No? Okay. M2 minus M1 minus of M3 minus M1 whole by M3 minus M1 into M2 minus M1 by M3 minus M1. M3 minus M1 cancel. Then M2 minus M1 we have no M3 minus M1. No, it is M2, no? It is also M2. Okay, M2 minus M1 cancel. Then remaining is M3 minus M1 into rise of temperature T2 minus T1. Are you follow this one? Okay. I follow this one. Operant increase in volume means V2 minus V1 by V1 into rise of temperature. No, this formula is V2 minus V1 by V1 into rise of temperature delta T. V2 means I substituted this one. Volume of the unit mass of the liquid at a temperature T2 is V by M3 minus M1 minus volume of the liquid at a temperature T1 is the V by M2 minus M1 by initial volume V by M2 minus M1 into rise of temperature T2 minus T1. Okay, now when you simplify them, take LCM. You take LCM. V you take common and you cancel them. Then when you take LCM, M2 minus M1 minus of M3 minus M1 by M3 minus M1, M2 minus M1. Okay, by 1 by M2 minus M1 into T2 minus T1. M2 minus M1, M2 minus M1 cancel. So remaining is M3 minus M1. Okay, in the denominator. Into rise of temperature T2 minus T1. Okay, now so from this formula, gamma operant is equal to gamma operant is equal to, you see what is this here, minus M1 minus of plus minus plus plus M1, these two cancel, then M2 minus M3 by M3 minus M1 into rise of temperature delta T. Okay, what is M2 minus M3? Tell me from this information. M2 minus M3 gives what? M2 is the mass of the specific gravity bottle with liquid at a temperature T1. M3 is the mass of the specific gravity bottle with remained liquid at a temperature T2. M2 minus M3 gives what? Mass of the liquid expelled. Very good, Dheeraj. Mass of the liquid expelled. So gamma operant is equal to, and ఇక్కడ T1 temperature దగ్గర mass of the bottle plus liquid దాని యొక్క mass M2. T2 degree centigrade దగ్గర mass of the T1 degree centigrade దగ్గర mass of the liquid taken మనకి ఎంత వచ్చింది? T1 degree centigrade దగ్గర mass of the bottle plus liquid is equal to M2. Okay. T2 degree centigrade దగ్గర mass of the bottle with liquid is M3. అప్పుడు M2 మైనస్ M3 అంటే T2 డిగ్రీ సెంటిగ్రేడ్ కి హీట్ చేసినప్పుడు కొంత లిక్విడ్ ఎక్స్పెల్ అయిపోయింది కదా, మిగిలిన లిక్విడ్ యొక్క మాస్, మిగిలిన లిక్విడ్ ప్లస్ బాటిల్ యొక్క మాస్ అయ్యేది. అప్పుడు M2 మైనస్ M3 అంటే మాస్ ఆఫ్ ది బాటిల్ విత్ లిక్విడ్ టేకెన్ ఎట్ ఎ టెంపరేచర్ T1 మైనస్ మాస్ ఆఫ్ ది బాటిల్ విత్ లిక్విడ్ ఎట్ ఎ టెంపరేచర్ T2. దట్ గివ్స్ ద మాస్ ఆఫ్ ది లిక్విడ్ ఎక్స్పెల్. నో, సో మాస్ ఎక్స్పెల్, ఇట్ గివ్స్ మాస్ ఎక్స్పెల్ డ్యూ టు రైజ్ ఆఫ్ టెంపరేచర్ బై వాట్ అబౌట్ M3 మైనస్ M1? What about M3 minus M1? What is M3 minus M1? Liquid remained. Very good. Ikkada M3 ikkada already I wrote mass of the liquid remained at a temperature T2 is M3 minus M1. So mass remains simply. Mass remains into rise of temperature delta T. So this is the formula for coefficient of operant expansion of the liquid by specific gravity bottle method. Coefficient of operant expansion of the liquid by specific gravity bottle method. Okay, it's very, very important. Number of times based on this formula, they ask the problems in mains. So very, very important. One example I want to say here. Once in mains, they asked one example. When temperature of liquid rises from 30 degrees centigrade to 40 degrees centigrade. When temperature of liquid rises from 30 degrees centigrade to 40 degrees centigrade, comma, then mass of liquid expelled, Of course, data is not correct. Data is not same. Different data is given, but like this only it is given. When temperature of liquid rises from 30 degrees centigrade to 40 degrees centigrade in the specific gravity bottle, okay, then mass expelled is 100 of mass remain. Mass expelled is 1/100th of mass remain. Then coefficient of operant expansion of the liquid is what? That is the question they asked. Coefficient of operant expansion of the liquid is what? Okay, yeah, 10 power minus 3. Okay, you see, gamma operant is equal to mass expelled by mass remained into rise of temperature. That is equal to mass expelled means, you see, mass expelled is equal to what? Mass expelled is equal to 1/100th of the mass remained. Suppose the mass remained is say mR. Rise of temperature is 40 minus 30. Okay, mass expelled is 1/100th of the mass of the liquid remained means mR by 100. No, so here mR cancel. So 1 by 100 by 10. So 1 by 10 to the power of 3. That means gamma operant is equal to 10 to the power of minus 3 per degree centigrade or per degree Kelvin. This is the gamma operant. This question was given in mains. Okay, so this is all this type. In this way we have to do. Next. So this is one method to determine the coefficient of operant expansion of liquid by using specific gravity bottle method. Okay, one sinker method is there. In the sinker method also, same formula we have to use. In sinker method also, the determination of the coefficient of operant expansion of liquid by sinker method, we have to use the same formula, mass expelled by mass remained into rise of temperature. Because these derivations are, explanations are not in our syllabus, but in order to understand the concept here, I explain this one. Okay, by sinker method also we have to use the same formula. Next, variation of density of liquid with temperature. Variation of density of liquid with temperature. At a T1 temperature, suppose you have taken m mass of the liquid. At a T1 temperature, if volume is V1 and density is say ρ1, density is ρ1, then density is equal to mass by volume. No? Next, at a temperature T2, here it is not the specific gravity bottle method. The mass of liquid taken remains constant. So, m mass of liquid at a temperature T1 has volume V1 and density ρ1. Next, at a temperature T2, whenever this mass of the liquid is heated to T2, because of expansion, volume increases. That volume is V2. And density is say ρ2, which is equal to mass by volume V2. Is ρ2 is more or ρ1 is more? Is ρ2 is more or ρ1 is more? ρ1 is more because mass is same, but volume at a temperature T is more. That's why density will be less. So ρ2 less than ρ1. Now, according to the definition of the coefficient of real expansion of the liquid, gamma R is equal to V2 minus V1 by V1 into rise of temperature delta T we can write now, or T2 minus T1 we can write now. Okay, now you substitute what is V2? V2 means m by ρ2 minus m by ρ1 by m by ρ1 into T2 minus T1. M you take common and cancel m. Then remaining is 1 by ρ2 minus 1 by ρ1 by 1 by ρ1 into T2 minus T1. You take LCM. Then ρ1 minus ρ2 by ρ1 by ρ1 into T2 minus T1. Okay, ρ1 cancel now. ρ1 cancel. Then ρ2 into T2 minus T1. Or delta T we can write. So that is equal to ρ1 minus ρ2. ρ1 minus ρ2. ρ1 minus ρ2 by ρ2 into delta T. Do cross multiplication. ρ1 minus ρ2 is equal to gamma R into ρ2 into delta T. Or ρ1 is equal to, you bring this ρ2 to right and you take ρ2 common. ρ2 R 1 plus gamma r into delta T. So it is the initial density of liquid at a temperature T1 is equal to final density into 1 plus gamma r into delta T. Okay, that means here sometimes you may ask, you have to find rho 2. You have to find rho 2. Rho 2 is equal to rho 1 by 1 plus gamma r delta T. We can write now. Suppose T1 is equal to 0 degrees centigrade. At 0 degrees centigrade, the density is rho naught. At a temperature T2 is equal to T, density is say rho T. Then by using the same formula, rho 1 means rho naught. Rho naught is equal to rho T into 1 plus gamma r into simply T we can write, because delta T means T minus 0, T only. So from here, this is the relation between density at 0 degrees centigrade and density at any temperature. From this, density at any temperature is equal to rho naught by 1 plus gamma r into T. Here, as the gamma r is less, when compared with this one, this is very small. That's why approximately we can write rho naught into 1 minus gamma r into T also. Because we can write 1 plus gamma here, rho naught into 1 plus gamma r T whole to the power of minus 1. If as gamma r is very less compared with 1, then binomial expansion you apply, higher terms you neglect, and approximately you will get 1 minus 1 plus minus 1 into gamma r T, means minus gamma r T. This is the density of the liquid at any temperature T. Approximate formula. It is the exact formula. Okay. So here it is applicable. It is true for solids also. In case of solids also, for solids also, the formula for density rho 1 is equal to rho 2 into 1 plus gamma r into gamma glass. Because in case of solids, there is no apparent expansion, real expansion like that. Only one quotient of volume expansion or quotient of cubical expansion. Gamma into delta T. This is for solids. Okay. Next, some applications. So before that, some applications we have to discuss. Some note points. Some note points we have to discuss. Yeah, you can write gamma r by gamma A. No, it is not gamma r, gamma A. Coefficient of, in case of liquids, we have to use the coefficient of real expansion only. In terms of density, when you write the coefficient of volume expansion, that is gamma r only, not gamma apparent. We should not use gamma apparent. Okay. So next, first one, Dulong-Petit method. Dulong-Petit method. Hyphen determination of gamma operand. Dulong-Petit method. Hyphen determination of the gamma operand. Okay. So here in Dulong-Petit method, one U-shaped tube is there. U-shaped tube is there like this. Of course, both are having same area of cross section. It is U-shaped tube. Both are having same area of cross section. Both are having same area of cross section. Like this. Okay. Now, at a temperature T1, when the liquid is taken, in both the vertical limbs, the temperature of liquid remains same. So, suppose you take the liquid here. When liquid is taken here, then the liquid level occupies the same level in both the vertical tubes. Whenever temperature of the liquid in this tube and in this tube both are same liquid. When you pour the liquid here, the liquid passing through this horizontal tube and rises in this vertical tube. Okay, and when you stop the pouring liquid, then the two liquid levels stands at the same height, because at this point, at the bottom, exactly at the bottom of this vertical limb or vertical tube, the point A is here. At this point, point B is here. So as the temperatures are same here, then pressure at this point and pressure at this point both are same. Okay, that must be same as it is the horizontal tube. Okay, on the surface of the liquid, no doubt atmospheric pressure acts. Here also atmospheric pressure acts. And at a temperature T1, pressure due to this height of the liquid column is H1. Pressure due to here also, whenever the liquids are at the same temperature, then the pressure at this point must be same. That's why heights of the liquid column must be same, as P0 are same. Now, somehow, suppose the temperature of liquid in the vertical tube is maintained at T1 degrees centigrade, and in this vertical tube, the liquid is maintained at a temperature T2. Actually, in order to achieve this, it is covered with one vessel. It is covered with one vessel, and hot water is taken. Hot water is taken. When hot water at a temperature T2 is taken, the temperature of the liquid in this bottle reaches the temperature of liquid in this limb of the U-shaped tube reaches T2 degrees centigrade. At a temperature T2, expansion takes place, no? Then the liquid level rises. The liquid level rises up to this one at a temperature T2. Here, at a temperature T1, suppose the liquid level in this limb of the U-shaped tube is say this only. Here continuously it is covered with one blotting paper, and continuously cold water is poured over the surface. Cold water is poured over the surface to maintain no transmission of heat energy from this to this or from this to this, so that the temperatures of the liquid columns in this tube and in this tube both are at T1 and T2. They are maintained constant by doing so. Okay, now here at a temperature T1, the height of liquid column in this left tube, left limb is say H1. Height of this liquid column in the right limb is say H2. Okay, now under equilibrium, pressures at this point and at this point must be same now. As the temperature of this liquid is T1, the density of this liquid here is ρ1, density of this liquid is ρ2. Because at a temperature T2, due to expansion of the liquid level rises here, not due to surface tension property or capillary phenomena. Capillary phenomena or capillary action is not considered here, not there, because white tubes these are. Okay, that's why here at a temperature T2, because of expansion of liquid, density increases to density changes to say ρ2. It is less than this one. No? Okay, now we know H1 and H2, and they ask to find what is the coefficient of operant expansion of the liquid. That is the case. Already in terms of densities, we derived the formula for coefficient of operant expansion. No? What is that formula? Gamma 1 is equal to gamma 2 into 1 plus gamma operant into rise of temperature T2 minus T1. Already just now we derived. Rho1 is equal to rho2 into 1 plus gamma operant into T2 minus T1. Okay, we know this equation. Under equilibrium, pressure at A and pressure at B must be same, because these 2 points are at the same horizontal level. Now we apply the pressure concept here. What is the total pressure at A? Pressure due to atmospheric pressure plus pressure due to the height of the liquid column. Atmospheric pressure P0 plus pressure due to height of the liquid column is H rho Z. H1 into density of the liquid at a temperature T1 is ρ1 into Z is equal to pressure at this point. Atmospheric P0 plus H2 into density of the height of the liquid column H2 into density of the liquid at a temperature T2 is ρ2 into Z. P0 cancel. So H1 ρ1 is equal to H2 ρ2 we can write now. Or ρ1 by ρ2 is equal to we can write H2 by H1. Okay, now we substitute this from 2. You substitute the value here. From this equation 1, from 1, ρ1 by ρ2 is equal to ρ1 by ρ2 can be written as H2 by H1. Okay, that is equal to 1 plus gamma operant into T2 minus T1 means delta T, we can write it. Okay, therefore you do cross multiplication. H2 is equal to H1 plus H1 into gamma operant into delta T, or H1 gamma operant into delta T is equal to H2 minus H1, or gamma operant is equal to H2 minus H1 by H1 into delta T. So by using this formula, we can calculate the coefficient of operant expansion by Dulong-Pettit method. Of course, they may not mention the Dulong-Petit method. Capillary action is not there, no. Capillary, already I said no. Capillary action is not considered, not there. These are not the capillary tubes. These are not capillary tubes. These are the wide tubes only, but they are vertical. That's why they are called vertical limbs. Vertical tubes are vertical limbs. Already I said capillary action is not there here. Okay, these are not narrow tubes. So by using this formula also we can calculate the coefficient of apparent expansion. Okay. Next. Next. Shall I erase this one? Shall I erase this one? Okay, Sinker method means not the specific gravity body method. Sinker method is different. Okay, not equal, not same formula. Mass expelled by mass remained into rise of temperature is the only for specific gravity body method. Okay. Sinker method is different. Now we will discuss the Sinker method. Sinker method. Suppose determination of coefficient of real expansion by Sinker method. Determination of coefficient of real expansion of the liquid by Sinker method. Okay, suppose here, suppose this is the liquid. One spherical shaped body is taken at a temperature T1. Temperature of liquid is T1 and the temperature of the body is also T1. Both here. First of all, two methods we consider. Two cases. One, the expansion of the sphere is not taken into account. Expansion of the sphere is not taken into account. Okay, only temperature of the liquid will change. That's all. In first case, suppose you take the solid sphere and you keep the solid sphere over the surface of the liquid. Then it is floating. When it is floating, suppose it is floating like this. It is floating like this at a temperature T1. Okay. Here, this is the spherical shaped body which does not expand upon heating. Here, the sphere does not expand upon heating. That type of sphere we have taken does not expand upon heating. Okay, now suppose the temperature of the, here it is the case of temperature T1. At a temperature T2, same liquid. At a temperature T2, whenever the temperature of the liquid is rises, then because of expansion, the density of the liquid decreases. Whenever the density of the liquid decreases, whatever the volume of the body submerged in the liquid, is it increase or decrease? Is it increase or decrease? Initially, this is the position of the body. So at a temperature T1, when the temperature of the liquid is T1, at that time, this is the volume of the body submerged in the liquid. It is the volume of the body submerged in the liquid. Okay. When temperature of liquid is more, suppose this is another case. When temperature of liquid is T2, then is the same volume of the solid sphere submerged in the liquid or more? Increases. Okay, now same solid sphere, but when temperature increases at a temperature T2, as the density of the liquid decreases due to expansion, then more volume of the body is submerged in the liquid. Okay, now the volume of the body submerged in the liquid is say V2. Volume of the body submerged in the liquid is V2. Now in this case, at a temperature T1, density of the liquid is ρ1. At a temperature T2, density of the liquid is ρ2. But in both the cases, as there is no expansion of the solid sphere, the density of the solid sphere is equal to rho naught. Here also rho naught only. Or we can write d naught. Density of the solid sphere. At both the temperatures, density of the solid sphere is d only. D. So density of solid sphere. Density of solid sphere is equal to d itself. Okay, now what is the condition for floating here? According to Archimedes principle, whenever the body is floating over the surface of the liquid, then the weight of the body is equal to buoyant force acts on the body. Ante kada? Weight of the body is equal to buoyant force for floating. For floating body, weight of the body mg is equal to buoyant force. Weight of the body means total weight of the body means total volume of the body. Weight of the body means volume of the body into density of the body rho gives mass of the body into g, weight of the body. That is equal to buoyant force. Buoyant force means volume of the, you see, buoyant force means at a temperature T1, at a temperature T1, weight is equal to buoyant force acts on the body. Buoyant force means volume of the liquid displaced means whatever the volume of the body submerged, that is the volume of the liquid displaced. So volume of the liquid displaced V1 into density of liquid into C. That is the buoyant force acts on the body. From this here, so V1 is equal to, or we can write dg cancel. So Vd is equal to V1 into rho 1. Vd is equal to V1 into rho 1. Okay, therefore, fraction of volume of the body submerged at a temperature T1. Fraction of volume of body submerged at temperature T1 is volume of the body submerged V1 by total volume capital V is equal to V1 by V is equal to D by rho 1. Similarly, at T2, volume of the body submerged is V2, original volume is V. That's why fraction of volume of the body submerged is equal to V2 by V, which is equal to density of the body by density of the liquid at a temperature T2, which is rho 2. Okay, therefore, from this formula, divide these two. When you divide these two, then when you divide these two, this and this, V1 by V2 is equal to V1 by V2 is equal to how we can write V1 by V2 is equal to rho 2 by rho 1. This by this means V1 by V by V2 by V. That means V1 by V2 is equal to this by this means rho 2 by rho 1. V1 by V2 is equal to rho 2 by rho 1. Okay. So this is from this equation. From what is the density relation? Density of the liquid relation, rho 1, rho 2 relation. Rho 1 is equal to rho 2 into 1 plus gamma into gamma real into rise of temperature delta T. We are having formula no? That implies rho 1 by rho 2 is equal to 1 plus gamma R into delta T. 1 plus gamma R into delta T. Okay, now suppose if you are given volume of the body submerged at a temperature T1 and at a temperature T2, then how we can write? Rho 1 by rho 2 is equal to V1 by V2, no? Rho 1 by rho 2 is equal to V2 by V1. So you write V2 by V1. V2 by V1. That is equal to 1 plus gamma R into delta T. Here V1 is the volume of the body submerged at a temperature T1. V2 is the volume of the body submerged at a temperature T2. Okay. V1. So from this formula, gamma R delta T is equal to V2 minus V1 by V1. Or gamma R is equal to, we can write V2 minus V1 by V1 into delta T. But here, V1, V2 are the not volumes of the body or volumes of the liquid. V1, volume submerged at T1. V2, volume submerged at a temperature T2. So by using this formula also, we can calculate, you will be given volume of the body submerged at a temperature T1 is V1, at a temperature T2 is V2. That will be given. When it is given, V1 by Vt is equal to rho 2 by rho 1. So that means we know, if you know the ratio of this one, then we know the rho 2 by rho 1 ratio. When you know the rho 2 by rho 1 ratio, then directly you substitute here, we can calculate gamma R. So in this way, by Sinclair method, we can calculate the coefficient of real expansion of the liquid. Okay. From this equation, this is the equation 1, it is equation, this is the equation 2, it is 3. Suppose if you know the formula directly, then we can substitute directly in this formula. It is the case whenever the expansion of the solid sphere is negligible. Expansion of the solid sphere ledu anukunte, this is the formula. Okay. Suppose if in this case, here only we can write, you see, V1 by V2 is equal to rho 2 by rho 1. That is equal to, from this formula, rho 2 by rho 1 means 1 by 1 plus gamma R into delta T, we can write now. So by using this formula, you will be given volume of the body submerged at a temperature T1, volume of the body submerged at a temperature T2. That is equal to V1 by V2 equal to 1 by 1 plus gamma R into delta T. From that we can find gamma R. Delta T will be given. Okay. Next. Same concept, but expansion of the vessel, expansion of the sphere is also taken into account. Expansion, last point, last but one. Gamma solid, or gamma. Gamma is the coefficient of, or gamma solid. Okay. Coefficient of cubical expansion of solids. Here, cubical expansion of solid sphere or solid simply. Okay. Now, at a temperature T1, density of the solid sphere is D1 and density of the liquid is rho 1. Then volume of the body submerged is V1. At a temperature T2, as the solid also expands, because coefficient of cubical expansion is given, it is not zero, it is given. That's why density, because of expansion of the sphere, I will draw sphere with more size. Okay, the density of the sphere becomes D2 and density of the liquid becomes rho 2. And volume of the liquid submerged at a temperature, volume of the sphere submerged at a temperature T is V2. Okay, now floating condition is same. According to Archimedes principle, so weight mg is equal to buoyant force Fd. Okay, at a temperature T1, weight of the body means volume of the body, total volume of the body is say V1. Total volume of the body is V1. How we can represent this one? Total volume of the body, of course, volume of the body is say V1. Volume of the body submerged in the liquid is say V1 dash. Here V2 dash. At a temperature T2, volume of the body is say V2. Okay. Now, at a temperature T1, volume of the body submerged is, volume of the body is equal to V1 into density of the body D1 into Z, weight. Buoyant force, volume of the body submerged V1 dash into density of the liquid at a temperature T1 is rho 1 into C. So from this fraction of volume of the body submerged is V1 dash by V1. That is equal to, easy cancel of course. V1 dash by V1 is equal to D1 by rho 1. D1 by rho 1. Similarly, at a temperature T2, V2 dash by V2 is equal to D2 by rho 2. D2 by rho 2. It is equation 1. It is equation 2. Now, so here you multiply these two. You multiply or divide these two. When you divide these two, Then we have to obtain the relation among them. So here you see V1 by V2 gives what? V1 by V2. That means initial volume of the body at a temperature T1, final volume of the body at a temperature T2. V1 by V2 is what? From this, you divide these two. No, you multiply these two. You will get this into this. Sorry. Okay, you see from this 1 by 2 gives what? 1 by 2 gives what? 1 by 2 you do. That's all. V1 dash by V1 dash by V1 by V2 dash by V2. V2 dash by V2. Okay, is equal to D1 by rho 1 by D2 by rho 2. So from this V2 by V1 into V1 dash by V2 dash is equal to D1 by D2 into rho 2 by rho 1. Rho 2 by rho 1. Where V1 dash, V2 dash are the volumes of the body submerged in the liquid at temperatures T1 and T2. Okay. Last point. So here in the vessel, the liquid is here we have taken a vessel having volume V1 and coefficient of volume expansion of the glass vessel is V1 gamma 1. It is filled with liquid having volume V2 and coefficient of volume real expansion of the liquid is gamma 2. Okay, now even it is heated to maintain the volume of the empty space constant. So because of heating, whatever the increase in volume of the vessel, if the increase in volume of the liquid is also same, then volume of the empty space remains constant. Suppose if the increase in volume of the liquid is more, then volume of the empty space is not constant. So whatever the increase in volume of the vessel upon heating, the increase in volume of the liquid upon heating must be same. So that's why the condition to maintain the volume of the empty space constant is increase in volume of the liquid upon heating is equal to increase in volume of the vessel upon heating. Increase in volume of the liquid means already we know gamma R into initial volume of the liquid taken V2 into rise of temperature. For vessel it is. Then delta T cancel. V1 gamma 1 is equal to V2 gamma 2. V1 is the initial volume of the vessel. Gamma 1 is the coefficient of theoretical expansion of the vessel. V2 volume of the liquid taken. Gamma 2 coefficient of real expansion of the liquid. That is the case. Okay. Shall I erase now? Shall I sign out? Shall I sign out? Okay, thank you. You can today based on this you have to do the problems. If possible, I will take class today also.